to tell you about a stark warning in New York today. Governor Cuomo now saying the state could go back on pause if our hospitals become overwhelmed.
Not the news New Yorkers want to hear, but it does appear the numbers right now are heading in that direction. Today, the governor laid out his new 5-part winter strategy. It includes triggering emergency hospital procedures like increasing bed capacity by 50% and preparing field hospitals just in case. This is why hospitalizations around the state surged past 3,500 over the weekend. That's the highest number it's been since May. Another distressing number, the positivity rate is now above 4.5%. The governor also said he wants to keep schools open as long as possible. Now, this comes as New York City is planning to reopen schools for young students 1 week from today. News 4's Phil Lipot kicking off our coverage of COVID today. He's live in Washington Heights. Phil?
David, as you saw the governor this morning, he wasn't mincing words at all, saying we are at war with COVID. And sometimes in war, when the battlefield changes, your plan of attack needs to change. That's why he put forth a pretty comprehensive plan to deal with hospitalizations and capacity issues. All of this happening while some kids here in the city are getting excited about getting back into the classroom. Governor Cuomo putting the state on notice.
We are now worried about overwhelming the hospital system.
Activating a winter plan, some of the most drastic measures we've seen since the spring.
This, my friends, is the problem. And we are seeing the rise in hospitalizations all across the state.
The governor says the state is ready to initiate emergency hospital procedures, like identifying retired doctors if there's another shortage of staff. A stoppage of elective surgeries, that's already happening up in Erie County. Mandating individual hospital network load balancing, preparing emergency field hospital plans, adding 50% bed capacity, preparing to implement the state's surge and flex plan, preparing to staff emergency field hospitals like this one already activated on Staten Island, and of course making sure the state's supply of PPE is adequate. Outside of focusing on hospitalizations and capacity, the governor wants to increase testing statewide. He wants to have an aggressive vaccination program the minute he can, and he wants to keep schools open as long as he can.
Well, here we go again.
Frank Raphael is a small business owner, so that's another headache completely. But today, he's cautiously optimistic about at least 2 of his 3 daughters getting back to school next week when the mayor wants pre-K to 5th grade back in-person learning. Frank and his wife have a 2nd grader and a 5th grader who go to PS 6 on the Upper East Side. His oldest daughter, Joanna Eva, is in 8th grade. No in-person plan for her just yet.
It's very tough. You know, I know these kids, they like being in school. You know, for as much as school gets a bad rap at all the times, when they don't have it, they realize how much they miss it, how much they enjoy it, and really how much they need it.
They do, and the governor asking us all to do our part as well, pointing to the fact that small gatherings are right now the #1 spreader of COVID. They account for 65% of all cases. We're live in Washington Heights. Phil Lipot, News 4 New York.
All right, Phil, thanks for the latest. And in New Jersey, a statewide shutdown still on the table to stop the spread. But today, Governor Murphy retightened restrictions to prevent this from happening. So starting next Monday, the number of people allowed to gather outdoors is now just 25. The capacity limit for indoor gatherings is still at 10 people. Now, that's not all. Indoor youth sports now banned statewide through at least the end of the year. Outdoor sports still allowed at this point, and this comes as infections are surging. Let's give you the latest numbers this afternoon. The state reported today nearly 3,200 new cases, 15 deaths, hospitalizations jumped again, and the positivity rate is above 11%. Let's get out to News 4's Jen Maxfield, continuing our team coverage. Jen, you're in Red Bank, New Jersey.
Natalie, the governor today did say that rumors of a lockdown were false, but he did mention some new restrictions, which he just ran through, including that 25-person cap on outdoor gatherings. And with that, many holiday gatherings, including the tree lighting here in Homedale and Red Bank, are canceled.
The Riverside Park tree lighting in downtown Red Bank usually attracts upwards of 20,000 people. This year, there were 25.
For this year, I think most of our residents and friends understood that the bells and whistles have to be pulled back. And we did that rather successfully.
The New Jersey Department of Health released detailed guidance on holiday gatherings, calling on communities to cancel holiday parades and parties, and recommending that visits with Santa be touchless and that he's protected behind plexiglass. The governor limiting even outdoor events to 25 people.
While we know that outdoor environments are safer than indoor environments, and there's no question about that. During this dangerous period, any type of mass gathering creates risk.
The governor's also announcing new restrictions for youth sports in New Jersey. Starting Friday, no indoor sports allowed for grades preschool through high school, at least until January 2nd. Even when indoor sports do resume, there will likely be no spectators allowed.
It's not going to be that simple while we're inside. They're just, some gyms are just so tiny that you can't get 10 people in there and get them 6 feet apart. That's going to be the biggest challenge because we're indoors now.
And the biggest issue for many high schools in New Jersey right now is the sport of ice hockey. They were supposed to be starting their practices and games in mid-December. Now all of that has to be rescheduled. We're live tonight in Homedale, New Jersey. I'm Jen Maxfield, News 4 New York.
Jen, thank you for that update. Similar story in Connecticut. A new call to shut down gyms and indoor dining. It's getting some attention because this call is coming from dozens of doctors who say they are seeing hospitals fill up. Key indicators spiking to levels we've not seen in Connecticut since the spring. Hospitalizations are above 1,000 for the first time since May, and there have been more deaths this month than in the last 4 months combined. News 4's Lynda Baquero is reporting live in Stamford. Linda.
David, a lot of scary numbers, a delicate balancing act all the time. And now the owner of the gym inside this building working hard to continue offering workouts, he hopes, and worries about how this letter could end up putting him out of business. With 10,000 square feet, Carrazza Fitness in Stamford continues to serve its clients following CDC guidelines and limiting capacity to 15%. That's less than the 25% allowed in Connecticut.
We've been open, from the beginning of this, and we haven't had any positive cases.
But there's a call for gyms to be shut down again. A letter signed by 35 Connecticut physicians asked Governor Lamont and state health officials to close gyms and ban indoor dining.
Restaurants that people are dining without masks on, of course, as is necessary, those are hot spots for transmission, as are gyms where people are exercising and just breathing more than people would be if they're at rest.
November has already seen 345 deaths in Connecticut, more than the prior 4 months combined. And Dr. Davis says the mortality rate here might tick back up.
We're seeing just as sick people, and the outcomes, we don't know exactly what the outcomes are yet, but we're really concerned about that.
Reacting to the letter, Governor Lamont says he and his administration continue to monitor all key metrics. His recent rollback to phase 2 is consistent with the advice of Dr. Fauci, who has said to keep bars closed and schools open, moves Connecticut has made. But Michael worries about closing his gym once again.
It'd be close to catastrophic. It would be a pretty hard hurdle for many of us to kind of come through.
Well, in the meantime, several members of the gym inside here have actually raised money to pay for free memberships for local healthcare workers. But the gym clients here, and certainly the gym owner here, as well as the owners of many other gyms and restaurants, now watching the numbers closely over the next few weeks, hoping that they can keep their doors open. Reporting live in Stamford, I'm Lynda Baquero, News 4 New York. Back to you.